with New Order live on DISCO 100 Radio, live on YouTube. In the studio to my left, I have my co-host, Mr. Noki Hardin. What's up, economic advisor?
Man, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Another week we survived. God is good.
Yes, sir.
Somebody didn't wake up today. And in the studio I have Mr. Ronaldo Lewis, and your wife name is
LaBreeze.
LaBreeze Lewis. He's
Mm-hmm.
going to talk about an incident that happened about 21 months ago
Yeah.
at an IHOP, where, of course, he was a victim. Me personally, as an activist, I'm going to call it like it is, of police brutality. But God is good. All charges has dropped. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to have his attorney come into the studio, talk about the legal side of the situation that happened. So before we go to our guests, anything you want to say, man? Any powerful words? I just want to let you know, when I want to talk economics, man, there's a black-owned hair salon, beauty salon just opened up in Powder Springs. And I'm thinking, man, I'm going to go over there and kind of introduce myself and kind of promote the business, and things like that. Because for us to be effective, man, we got to start putting the money back in our own community. For some reason, us as black folks, seem like it's hard to wake some of us up, man. So I think I'm going to go over there, introduce myself, give her a business card, and anything that because right now it's all on Facebook and it's really going like viral, things like so. What you think about that?
Yeah, we need to support our, you know, businesses because this is what help the community thrive.
That's
you know,
right.
the tax dollars that we pay a lot of time leave our community because we give them to Walmart, Targets, places like that, and they don't normally have our interests at hand.
They
And it's
don't.
not knocking them for being a business, but we just got to be realistic.
That's true.
People's donate to, people's or organizations or
Right.
situations that they,
Right.
they're interested in.
That's
and
true.
sometimes when it revolve around our peoples, they're not concerned.
Right. There's several incidents that we was involved on a national level where we went to this gas station. Someone don't look like us, just disrespecting our black women, calling them the N word, but we continue to give them our dollar. But you can't sacrifice it, go down the street and support something that we own. I just don't understand it. Because back in the day, when King and it was affected, they sacrifice.
Right.
We got to sacrifice as black people.
Right. See, also, when we talk about economics is not just tied to our money because you got to remember when they first brought the Africans to the American soil,
Mm-hmm.
it was based on economics. So you yourself as a consumer is a part of that economical picture,
Right.
so you gotta consider that stuff first and foremost.
Right.
Not only that, when merchants, when they sell you a product, they sell you a product not just under the illusion that you're gonna use it for the day.
Right.
They know you're gonna pass this down for generations
That's
of
true.
generation because the toothpaste that you use, you probably used it because this was the toothpaste you growed up using.
That's true. That's
You
true.
know,
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go to our guests. Let's go ahead and introduce our guests in the studio. I know this is gonna be kind of touching. I know for them it's still a part of their life, but I told Miss Lewis eventually we do have to move on because I see two people in our studio as business owners first in Cobb County. But there was an incident that happened 21 months ago, and I know Renato's more like a friend now. We're family for life. And when I seen this video, I immediately called Deputy Chief Farrell, say, hey, we need to sit down and talk about this. I didn't even know the brother, but I know how Cobb County is. I've been dealing with them for years, man. Because I don't know if they know that, but I had the first march in Cobb County in 2000 for Mayor Bacon in Smyrna. It was like, who's this courage brother doing this? But I knew my vision was going to come true. And now this year, a lot of black elected officials have been elected in Cobb County. So the vision is coming true. A lot of people are voting and stuff like that. So right now, what I'm going to do now, introduce Mr. Ronaldo Lewis, who's a business owner first. I'm going to say that now. But there was an incident that happened at an IHOP in Marietta, Georgia, about 21 months ago. Ronaldo, how you feeling, man?
Oh, I'm perfect, man.
Okay,
I'm blessed.
okay. Introduce yourself. Yeah, push the mic up. Yeah, introduce yourself, man. Kind of explain. I know your attorney is going to be here at the bottom of an hour. Could talk about the legal matter, but kind of explain to the viewers what happened to you at the IHOP in Marietta, Georgia.
I just give you the short version.
Okay, I know. I got you.
Basically, me and my wife, we had an outing, and we wanted to get something to eat after that little outing we had. Came to the IHOP place that we frequently visited over the last 20 years or so. Went in, got ready to place an order. Guy said we was out of bacon for what reason I don't know, but went back out, see what my wife wanted to get, what she wanted to order.
Mm-hmm.
Came back in, waited about 10, 15 minutes, sat down, waited. Some more people, patrons was in the line waiting and the order also. So
Mm-hmm.
I waited my turn and I got up, spoke
Right.
to the same guy that I spoke to at first that said something about the bacon.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got up again, he then said that the grill was closed. So my response to that was, why you have me to wait this long?
Right.
And now you saying the grill was closed. At first it was about the bacon, which I don't even eat bacon, but
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I let that go and we exchanged words and just, like me and Mike just exchanged words and that was basically it.
Mm-hmm.
My wife came out the bathroom and she was trying to get numbers, the corporate, and it was just giving us a hard time, being little ugly about the situation.
Right.
Customer service wasn't that good that night. I say that. So
Gotcha.
I went from there, and next thing I know, the police arrived, and at that point, I was waiting by the door because I was letting my wife, letting her handle it, because
Right.
at that point, I was through talking. I didn't want get nothing to eat. I didn't want to spend my money there for that reason. That's why I stood by the door and I saw the police coming in, and it turned into something else.
So, the video I seen was very disturbing, and then your wife, if you want to jump in, I know, seeing your husband in a situation like that, I know you was really afraid.
Oh, yeah.
How did you feel at that particular time?
Uh, Whenever the police walked in,
Actually, when you seeing your husband being jumped on by the police.
oh, I thought they were gonna kill him.
Right, right. Because as you can see, like I told him the other day, we had a press conference. That like I'm glad he's here to tell his story because
Yeah.
look what happened to George Floyd and
People not
other,
interested
different suspects. I just seen a video not too long ago where a black man is being harassed.
Mhm.
So we have a problem in this country.
Right.
And things like that. So again, we're there with you. And we will continue to support you all spiritually as well because I know it's not easy. When you help someone, but when you are actually, because you never thought it hit your door.
Right.
How did your kids react? Did
Oh,
your
they
kids
was-
ever
they
see the
was-
video, Renato?
Oh
Mind me
yeah,
asking?
the
How
kids.
was
I'm
they?
pretty sure they
Did it
saw
affect
everything.
them?
Yeah. It affected everybody
I
around
got
us.
you.
No.
The whole
Okay.
the whole family.
Right.
Friends, relatives. We have relatives all over South Carolina.
Okay.
It reached far.
I got you. I got you.
We got a lot of people that
Mhm.
were supporting us, but we have a lot of people that love us also.
Got
So
you. Got
it,
you.
it,
Got
it
you.
hurt a lot of people.
Right. And even when you were before you got out on bound, while you were still in car, I went to the restaurant and you had the military base patronizing your business, people from all races.
Right.
You know,
right.
so kind of explain about your business, man. And things like that because I was very like, wow, because I didn't know that actually. I don't know how many black-owned businesses in Cobb County, but I was amazed on people that was spending money in there. They said, no, that's not Ronaldo.
Yeah.
That
right.
kind of pushed you even more. And so,
Yeah.
so my understanding is that while you was incarcerated, family kind of helped you out, right?
Yeah. Of course.
They was there for you,
Yeah.
keep the doors open.
So I spent 33 days in jail.
Mm.
From the time that night, 33 days later, I was given a bond. And I got out. I was on house arrest. Couldn't leave the house for about 5 months. $300 a month.
Strict curfew.
Couldn't go to work. Well, the first 5 months I
Yeah,
couldn't leave the
right,
house
right.
at all.
Right.
So that's when my wife basically was working 2 jobs. You
Mhm.
know, she was taking care of her business, then she would
Right.
leave there and
Right.
you know go make sure everything's good at the restaurant. And I had 2 other employees up there, you know, really family members that they also helped out. They
Right.
was there daily, dedicated. You know, I had sisters, my kids. You know, everybody just chipped in to make sure that the business was still up and running,
Right.
and the support of the people of the community. You
Right.
know, because they know who I am. You know,
Right.
a lot of people support
So you had a lot of support.
RCs. You know, so.
Right.
They've been coming for a long time, but yeah, we've been there 9 years. It's RC Southern Cooking. We on Roswell Road.
Right. But I can honestly say, man, no, you met Kimberly Field.
Mm-hmm.
We wrote a letter to the DA, Miss Holmes, at the time to give you a second chance, you
Mhm.
know. And then I know you had, I know at that time, I think you was up for, I think your attorney got curfew approved, right? I think the first,
Yeah,
there
the
was
first
a
yeah we
curfew
went
that
back
you, yeah.
to get we did a motion, had a motion hearing for extended curfew. Then that was extended from 5 in the morning until 11 in the morning, which just gave me really enough time to go to the store, do my store runs, and by the time I get to the
Wow, it was time to
restaurant,
go home, huh?
yeah, it's time to get out of there.
Right, right,
But you know, I thank Judge Kell for giving me that opportunity, you know, to prove myself.
right.
You know, that I should be able to run my own business because we lost a lot during that time financially.
I
You
know,
know,
right,
we
right.
lost a lot. You know, so I was thankful for that. And we went back 3 months later, and we got another extension on the curfew,
Mm,
and that went from 5 in the morning to 9 at night.
mm-hmm.
So now I'm able to be at work
I
full
got you.
time
Right,
and get you know the full benefits
Mhm.
of being a, business owner.
Right,
You know,
right,
because that time when I was at home and couldn't work, you know, it was a lot of pressure on my
on your back,
wife
right,
and
right,
my kids, her mother. You know, they was doing a lot of
right,
work. You
right.
know, so I was just happy to be able to get back to work full time. You
That's
know,
good.
because people
Right.
was looking for me. You know, like
Yeah,
that's my business. I
Right,
should be able to be
right,
there.
right,
So
right,
felt like they tried to take all of that away. You know, I've
right,
been building to get to this point of my life for you know the last 20 years.
right, right, right.
So
Anything
yeah.
you want to ask Ronaldo?
No, I just wanted to comment because I had seen the video
Mm-hmm.
when it initially occurred, and when you asked the question how it affected his family, and I feel that the community was affected too. You know, especially
course.
those of us who identify with our blackness. You know, we sit up there, man. We watch these people's man victimize our people, man, all over the country,
That's true.
and
That's true.
and then they do it with with unapologetic. You know, they don't have no consideration, and they feel like they the victim. You know what I'm saying? And then
Mhm.
the criminally charged peoples, you know, and disrupt their life. You know, all that stuff, man. Some of these things you can't get back, and you can't even put a price tag on.
And Noki, you know what's messed up when you found out one of the officers was very corrupt. How many times he been? I don't know if when you say corrupt involved with a situation like this, but can you imagine that if he was, how many people then got messed up into the situation?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, man,
Yeah.
some people's man are drunk by power. You know, power.
Mhm.
Some people's can't handle power, and
Mhm.
you can't get that responsibility to anybody and everybody.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And when you give it to certain peoples, man, it should be a check valve, and
Right.
they should be checked and corrected, man, at all point because they got a great responsibility. If you got authority over me, you know, just like if I give you authority over my child, I expect you to have a degree of respect for my
That's
child.
right. That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? And just like we should expect them to have a degree of respect for, you know, the community at large.
That's true.
But they don't subscribe to that.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it's
You
just a lot different for black men. Period.
Right.
You know, like not just my situation,
It's
but
all
just
over.
all
You're
over.
right. You're
You know,
right.
so
You're right.
so
You can see the bias, bro. It's just
Oh,
they don't
yeah.
treat white suspects like that.
oh yeah, definitely.
Period.
If I was a white man,
Mhm.
you know, that night, I
Right.
would definitely not been in that situation.
I always bring this up. Remember the young white boy killed all them 9 black people in that church, and they took him to Burger King. I bet you they ain't stopping no restaurant for you, did they?
Right, nah. Nah, matter of fact, I was rearrested.
Right.
You know.
Right. So is it okay if we play the video to the viewers?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
okay with you?
Video showing up on Facebook feeds tonight showing Marietta police forcefully arresting a man at an IHOP. So, how did a complaint about bacon turn into this? 11 Live Joe Hankey spoke to police who were standing by the officer's use of force.
Well, Jeff, one upload of this video to Facebook has been watched more than 20,000 times, with many people questioning in the comments how police made the arrest. Marietta police are investigating the arrest and reviewing body camera video today, but a police spokesman tells me while the arrest was not pretty, the department is standing tonight by the actions of its officers.
You know how they make the serial, like you got a gun with your hand? He said, I'm going to kill all of y'all. And he spread his hand out like he was going to shoot him in all kinds of directions.
That 911 call led Marietta police to this IHOP on Cobb Parkway around 1:30 a.m. on Sunday. Cell phone video shared on Facebook shows what happened next when police arrived and officers began talking with Renardo Lewis. Community activist Gerald Rose says he talked with Marietta police today about the video. He is calling for body camera video to be released to show a fuller picture of what happened.
We don't want to go off emotion, we want to go off facts, but we did see this video, and I'm very concerned right now on the video that we've seen right now.
Marietta police say before cell phone video begins, an officer tried talking with Lewis and his wife to investigate claims Lewis made threats.
At that point, the video is the video, and it's not pretty, but we're proud of the fact that the officers, if you'll look at it again and consider, the officers used restraint and only used the force required to eventually get a suspect who we were told made threat.
Officer Chuck McPhillamy says at first officers only wanted to detain Lewis to question him. Lewis's hand could be seen coming above his head in the cell phone video. Next to everyone is in a wrestling match. An arrest warrant states Lewis grabbed a female officer's neck and began choking her. And he is accused of trying to get a taser out of another officer's hands.
If he is still unwilling to just place his hands behind his back, we have to continue to use some measured, appropriate force to get him to comply.
The video shows an officer then continued to use force against Lewis. An officer shouts a warning and moments later uses his taser. On the ground, an officer punches Lewis. We asked the department about it. Officer McPhillamy says it was a tactic to get Lewis to draw his hands up in self-defense.
Kind of a natural human reflex. And at that moment, then he's immediately placed in cuffs. And then ask yourself the important question. Did any force occur after that?
Lewis is being charged with assaulting an officer, obstruction, and public drunkenness. I'm told body camera from the incident is being reviewed by Marietta police, but there is no timetable for it to be released. Lewis is still being investigated for claims he made threats, and video could be kept as evidence for that investigation or the charges he already faces. Jennifer?
We're going to go to a quick break, and we're going to come back with Attorney Flagg, and we're going to continue to talk to the Lewis family about the incident that happened at the IHOP about 21 months ago. We'll be right back. Yeah, just make sure it's up. There you go. Welcome back to Real Talk with New Order live on DISCO100 Radio, on YouTube channel. In the studio again to my left, I have my National Economic Advisor, Mr. Noki Hardin. We've been talking to Renardo Lewis and his wife about an incident happened 21 months ago. Now the attorney have arrived, Miss Attorney Flack, who would be honest attorney. I've been in Cobb County for several years. When you was in that courtroom, you didn't bow down. I'm serious. You know, because I've been living here in Cobb since I moved here, and a lot of people are afraid of Cobb County. You know, drive down South Cobb at a particular time, Carr Parkway. But I could see that this county is changing. New black elected officials had came on board and things like that. Attorney, we kind of got into the discussion about what happened to Mr. Lewis. If you could talk about the legal side of it, God is good. All charges has been dropped. You know, I know this has been a long fight for you as well, because I know there was a plea deal out on the table. You said, no, we're not taking no plea deal. We're going to trial. And I know there was a delay in the process as well. So kind of explain when you first took on this case and when you heard the word Cobb County.
Well, when I first took the case on, obviously what I do, which is, you know, I saw it in the media. I talked with my client, I talked with his wife, but I wanted to see what the evidence was myself, to look at it like that. And that's what we did. And once we looked at it, we went through it. And to me, this was just never a case that we could have pled out.
Gotcha.
Towards the end of this conversation, I'd met with the DA this fall again after numerous times, and she was at a misdemeanor. And to me, it just still wasn't right. And I'm not a lawyer. I'm different in that dismissals are the ultimate. And this was a case that to me from day one needed to be a dismissal. And so I wasn't going to do anything less than that. But I'm also a lawyer that tries to seek justice and that tries to figure out solutions on both ends. But again, this just wasn't a case where I thought he could have pled to anything. And so even after that meeting, I was glad to see them come down to a misdemeanor, because we started at, they wanted, 20 years in prison every single day, which I just thought
was they all felony charges he was facing before the misdemeanor?
So he was indicted on 19 counts, multiple felonies, multiple misdemeanors. And then they filed a recidivist notice right away. The first DA, not Joyette Holmes, but the acting DA at the time. They filed a recidivist notice. So they wanted him to serve 20 years in prison every single day. And that, of course, was never going to happen. And then that conversation through, the year and a half, 2 years, we spent hours and hours and hours belaboring every single legal point. And we had the big hearing in January, which I thought we fought. The judge never ruled on that.
I seen that.
And I mystery about that, but the judge never ruled. And so we were preparing, if we weren't going to get what we wanted, that we were going to go to trial as soon as jury trials opened back up. And then right before Thanksgiving, I had another conversation with the assistant DA on the case and was notified about some other new information that they had to turn over to us, which was called Brady evidence, relating to the officer who had lost his job. And in that conversation, it was pretty clear that this needed to be a dismissal.
Wow.
And so
how did the because the DA didn't even fight no more after that, correct?
No.
They found out about the officer. Is that when they kind of?
I think that was the nail that broke the what is it, the camel's back, or the straw that broke, whatever the saying is. Yeah, that was it. Because at that point they knew that a jury, if they didn't dismiss it, they were gonna have to not only deal with the facts of this case, but they were also gonna have to deal with an officer who's been untruthful and who was untruthful, in my opinion, at the hearing. And they were gonna have to deal with that, and also his record, because legally it's called Brady evidence. If an officer does something that's untruthful, or there's an investigation and they lose their job, the state has to turn that over to the defense, and the jury would have known about that.
Wow.
So it just would have been pile on. And I think that they knew that, and they knew this was
I really applaud you, because I seen you in that courtroom. I mean, you did an awesome job,
Thank you.
and things like that. And I was kind of explaining when we had a press conference about a week ago, I'm just thank God that he's live to tell his story. Right. Because some people don't make it that far.
A lot of people don't make it.
But right now what I'm trying to do is focus on, this is a business owner.
Right.
And things like that. So when you found out that he was again, we don't stereotype no one, but when I found out he was a business owner and doing very productive in the community, they gave me a red flag as well. Hey, see what's really going on with this. I don't discriminate, even if you're not a business owner, but You know, I know ain't no one just gonna just throw that all away like that. And then the wife is a business owner as well, so they gave me a red flag to reach out to his family, see anything I can do as an activist,
Right.
you know, and things like that. So now the press conference that you had a lot of support. You know, I really applaud you. And I think did you have some other attorneys behind the scenes helping you out?
Absolutely. We had I do this in all my cases. I'm not a lawyer who, I think it takes a village everywhere. And so, I love the law. I hate the law, but I try to change the law.
Right.
And so I want as much advice, input as I get, and then I'm ultimately going to do what I'm going to do.
I
But
got you.
I like to reach out to people who don't think like me. I spoke to prosecutors that I used to prosecute
Getting
cases
some opinion
with.
on this.
Right, that are still active prosecutors all over the state that we talked about it, judges that are sitting judges in other jurisdictions. And everybody had the same opinion. Which
How long you been practicing law?
I've been practicing law since 2014, so a little over 6 years.
Wow, not that long.
Not that long. Not that long.
You brought the beast down.
Hey, you would think you
Right.
20 years.
Nope.
Was
6
this your
years.
big high profile case in Cobb County?
This was, yeah. I mean, I don't really take that many cases in Cobb. Most
Can I ask why? I'm just joking.
you already know the answer why. But I take the cases that I need to take,
I
and
got
this
you.
was just one that I couldn't. I just wasn't going to watch somebody be railroaded, and from
Right.
day one, he was railroaded. So I'm glad that the system worked, and I'm glad that justice was served.
Right.
I don't know if you call it justice, having had to go through what he's been through still
Right.
for almost 2 years.
Right.
That he's going to probably take a lifetime to
That's
to
true.
get past.
Then he said his
but-
kid, the whole family was affected. I can
Right.
understand that. Yeah. That's
So,
true.
but this was the ultimate.
Great job.
Right.
Thank you.
The judge seemed kind of, I don't know, on the outside looking in, he seemed kind of fair because I know he trusted him, gave him a curfew. Kind of explain when you first presented the curfew. Because I know at first, because he told me he was like losing money, but I know being on curfew, you could barely run your business. So is that what you came at him first on the first, while he was out on bond can he at least come out and run his job and then come back home or whatever? Is that how you approach the...
Definitely. It was a process. I mean, at first,
Okay.
the goal is get him out of jail.
Gotcha.
Just get him out of jail. And that's what we did. He was on house arrest. And then shortly thereafter, I think it was a month or so, we filed another motion showing that, hey, he's doing everything he's supposed to do.
That's
He had
correct.
on a scram monitor, which monitors your alcohol intake, his GPS. He was doing everything he was supposed to do. And so from that point, we just kept filing motions to modify his bond, and the state stopped opposing us. So most all of the motions that we filed to modify his bond were consented to by the state. And it was first, yes, it was the curfew, and then limited hours at his restaurant. And then they removed the monitor and so on and so forth to finally, there was really not any conditions.
I remember you had told me that once you got out on bond, I think you was out a couple of days and the police arrived at your home again for some kind of misunderstanding. Kind of talk about that, Ronaldo. Didn't I think you had called Miss Flack and say something was happening?
Well, probably was out
Not even, but
Probably about a week or so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And me and my wife and my son, we was in the house and we got a knock on the door, and it was the officers, police officers was at the door, the sheriffs. And my wife looked out, she said, "It's police out there," so
Right.
by the time I'm trying to get my phone out so I can make sure I got it recorded,
Right.
but she so fast, she got to the door, opened the door, and they came in and say, "Miss Lewis, you're under arrest."
Did they
didn't
show any
a
kind
warrant.
of? They didn't show no.
We was
warrant?
asking for where's your warrant? Can we see the warrant? I just got out of jail. I'm out on bond. I got the monitor on, and when I stepped outside, I could see it was about 12 or 13 officers with handguns, automatic weapons.
They was drawn.
Out
Like
facing
facing?
this, yeah.
How was you
Shotguns
thinking when you saying that, bro?
surrounding my whole house. They was in the backyard. It's like about 8 police cars outside of my house, in front of my neighbor's house, and it just didn't. It wasn't no good look, It was like
And you
I
said
felt
your
like I
kids
was.
seen that, right?
Well, luckily my son was in his room,
Okay.
'cause, he's a big guy. So I was so happy that he didn't come out at the time when
You
they
don't know
was
how
in.
he might have moved.
I don't know
wrong or
how he
something.
would have, if he had his phone in his hand, anything,
That's true. Yeah.
anything could have happened because they they so antsy, and they got the guns out already ready to shoot. So that could have ended very bad. But again, thank God,
Wow.
But anyway, they took me out after saying, I told my wife, I said, hey, call Sarah. Because they wouldn't show us no warrants, so they put me in the car, and, I said, man, this got to be a dream, man. I got to be dreaming. I just got out. Like, this is crazy. So they was taking me, I just started praying, by the time we got, where the Waffle House at, like, Powder Springs.
Right.
You like 30 seconds from the jail right there. And they get a call, the officer get a call and says, turn around.
Wow.
And he asked me, he said, you know why they want me to turn around? And I wanted to say something else, but I just, like, nah, I don't know why they want, I don't know, but he was kind of being nasty at first, but now that he knows it's a mistake, now he's being nice. He's like, well, I'm sorry about this. I'm just trying to do my job, this and that. So they bring me back home, everybody's still out there, all the officers, the neighbors looking, and I stand, majority, we probably the only black, it's us and one more house that's, we the only black people on the street.
I've been in your home. You got a nice home. I've been in your home.
So,
right.
That it just don't look good, you know what I'm saying? And they already know what happened. So now it's even worse, but the ones who I talk to on the street, they know me, you know what I'm saying? They just see me out there with my son playing ball, or we practicing, things like that. But the ones that don't know me, ain't no telling how they was feeling about me being on the street, because I'm pretty sure they never had anything like that, because it's very quiet. But yeah, they let me out the car. They apologized. We sorry. I said, man, you could have killed, you could have killed me or my son or my wife.
Right.
This could have been a Breonna Taylor.
That's true.
This could have been the lady in Atlanta, the older lady,
Remember
the
that?
elderly
Yeah, I
lady.
remember
What's
that,
her name?
yeah.
Jacqueline.
Miss Johnson.
Oh yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
That could have been her.
They went to the wrong house. I remember
Yeah,
that,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
By the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to correct those mistakes
I
before
want to
that
go to your
happens.
attorney. What was the mistake? Did you find out what happened?
Yeah, it was an issue with they had indicted him and they re-indicted him. So, and it's just a technicality which shouldn't have ever happened. And people get re-indicted all the time. But when that happens, they should have carried over the active bond that he had on that first case, should have carried over to the new indictment. And for whatever reason, I have my questions about it, but for whatever reason, they didn't do that. So it showed as he's indicted on new charges that he doesn't have a bond for, and they wanted to arrest him. So I immediately called the DA.
You think
It's a
anybody
huge
get
mistake.
disciplined for that? Do you know?
Of course
Or
not. Not that I know of.
That's
Not that I know of.
scary.
Mhm.
And they came with drawn weapons.
Right. Right.
Anything you want to say on that? No,
Yeah,
you hear something like that, a mistake?
Well, they in their opinion, they don't make mistakes. You
True.
make the mistake.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Because you put what they say is with the narrative, you put yourself in that position. You know what I'm saying? In reality, you don't nobody ask to be shot. Don't nobody ask to be beat. Don't nobody ask to be mistreated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's all about professionalism, but they don't hold the police accountable.
They don't.
So the
To the
police,
same standard.
the police is acting more like they're in a dictatorship.
Right.
You know, and they want you to be afraid of them. Matter of fact, I don't know if you ever read the book, The Art of War.
Mm-hmm.
But inside the Art of War, they have a part in there where they call supreme excellence. And in supreme excellence, they feel as if they exert dominance over their suspect. This is showing supreme excellence. So they want you to be afraid of them, and to have the general public afraid of the police. They saying that's effective, when I believe it's ineffective, because the police should be a civil servant, and they serve the people, not their own self-interest.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed you have a Trayvon Martin
Mm-hmm.
tattoo on your arm, or whatever. So kind of, I mean, when you see issues like that, when there was a mistake, like I said, he could have lost his life again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when you found out about that, did it kind of like push you even more to try to
Yes,
get justice for this
and
young
it's
man?
exactly what's wrong with our system. And I say wrong because it's not really wrong. It's how it was designed. It was designed to do that. I read this quote recently that says, somebody asked me, how do you feel now that you've won? And then I heard this quote that even when you win a case, it's like you don't have a sense of winning because the process is so dehumanizing. So it's like by the time you get the win, you've been dehumanized for so long. And
That's
don't
true.
get me wrong, Renardo's gonna be okay. He'll be better. But you know, to have somebody have to go through this, be arrested, go to court, get a bond, and then have to worry every single day when he's sleeping or when he's home with his family that the police are going to come back accidentally.
Many nightmares.
It's like you can't ever be free. Even if you're free, you can't ever really be free. And that's what the system is designed and was designed to do from the day the 13th Amendment was enacted and slavery was quote unquote abolished, which it never really was. So that's why I have Trayvon Martin, because for me, this was that case happened.
That really made me mad.
This happened when I was in law school. So it was like the first time that I really got to understand legally what, you know, the legal side of things, because Georgia has the same quote unquote stand your ground law, which is what we argued in Bernardo's behalf on his defense at that immunity motion in January. But we have the same law that Florida has, which allowed Trayvon Martin to be killed. And for the person who did it to walk free to this day.
And he walking around like still doing stuff like, you know what made me mad, not to get off the subject. You know, we have a lot of issues in our own community, gangs and stuff, you know, all rough and tough. But you have a man that killed this man, walks around like brave. Ain't nobody even try to do nothing to him. I don't condone any kind of violence. But I just recognize, you know, Trayvon, the guy that killed him, what was his name?
George.
You don't see nobody even try, you know what I mean? But we walk around tough and all that. And he just got a DUI here in Atlanta not too long. They probably had him in isolation though. But you know, he walks around now, he turning back suing the family. I know you're aware of that.
I am.
What are the choices on that he winning that as far as trying to sue the family? I don't know if you have any expertise.
I mean, I think it just shows one,
he just bold.
He just entitlement. Like, not only am I gonna, you know, I won a case, I'm not just gonna like lay low and be thankful I'm not in prison. I'm gonna sue you, the family of the child that I murdered for no reason. And that's just the sense of entitlement, and our system allows that every single day.
Go ahead.
Yeah, not only that, I think the most depressing part about it is that society, the part of society that huddle around him and give him the support that they gave him for all this, you know, supporting his legal defense and even those who champion his cause and consider him to be, you know, innocent. When we all realize he guilty, you know what I'm saying? Can't nobody just follow nobody and then get into an altercation with nobody and then this person wind up dead.
Right.
And then you don't even get a manslaughter. You don't get no kind of charge. You don't get nothing. But if it was anybody else, you know, you would probably be charged with at least involuntary manslaughter.
And the caller said, leave him alone. Don't follow. I remember that really made me upset. I just want to kind of throw that in. That shows the issues we got in this country, you know, but we got to continue to make sure as a community stay, you know, we have to support our people. You know, there's always two sides to a story, but when I seen this situation, like you, when I seen the video, definitely something was wrong. You know, when I met with Mr. Farrell privately, I say something's definitely wrong. You know, and things like that. So they are willing to sit down, because when I first moved to Cobb County, they used to have a lot of town hall meetings. I know the pandemic going on, but it's time to have a thing called open door policy, you know, which I have with people around here, you know, and people like, well, you know, you wasting your time and all that. But I was always taught to get inside them doors. You can rally and protest all you want, but I was taught to get inside them doors, like Dr. King used to back in the day. Let's sit down, let's have a conversation. And your client has accepted to, I don't know if he told the attorney, but he's willing, and I'm give him courage to sit down with me with the Marietta police.
We've been trying to do that from day one.
Yeah, of course.
Before
if you want to
all of this,
Mr. Farrell did call me and sent me an email,
I would love to. I brought that to the DA's
I can show you. I
attention.
can forward you the email. He's willing to sit down with us to get this. We got to bridge this gap, attorney.
Absolutely.
Because all police are not bad.
They're not, and we have to have. I believe we have to have compassion.
Right.
Nothing will change.
Would you like
if
to be a part of the meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Tell me when and where. I'm there.
It's supposed to be the
That's
beginning
a
of
win.
January.
Absolutely.
Because I do have the email or whatever, and I will send it to show you.
Yeah.
That they have accepted that to sit down with us. And things
That's
like
good to
that.
hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me say this too. I feel that the police officer or the police at large, they need to sit down with the community.
They used to
every
do that.
community, and try to, bridge the gaps, because it's so much fear.
Mm-hmm.
People
It
just
is.
scared.
People
of the
scared.
police.
Mm-hmm.
You know
They're
what I'm
scared.
saying? And
Absolutely.
all right, because the police are trained killers. Y'all trained killers. Y'all worse than the mob. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all killing people, and y'all go to the media with a narrative that's really incorrect, just like they did in this case.
Right.
They made it about bacon.
Right.
In reality, it wasn't about bacon. It was about your aggression.
Mm-hmm.
They was coming with aggression.
Right.
Angry black man.
Right.
Yeah, but we go. But I'm glad you accepted to
I
come to
would
the
love
meeting as
to.
well. I'm
I
going
would
to
love
forward
to.
you the email that I received. I think I sent it to you already. He's seen it, so that's good. So that's gonna shock them, and things like that. Anything else you'd like to say?
I mean, that conversation is really what I want to do.
Okay.
Is coming from a place of compassion, understanding not all officers are bad, but look,
Right.
y'all have to take some accountability. How many times can we take accountability, or can we say, hey, look, not all officers are bad? Y'all also have to understand what the issues are internally, and how you're training officers to not, have a second look at things, or to
Right.
calm down, or just some of their policies set them up for things like this, because that officer in this case didn't become that overnight, just like the officer in George Floyd's case did not
right.
put his knee on his neck overnight. He had, I think, 18 prior complaints of excessive
And let
force.
me ask you something. You know the judge allowed him to leave the state. They said he did that because of the fear of his life. As attorney, what you think about that? It's
I
like
think
privilege.
it's ridiculous. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a bond denied because my client was leaving the county. But now because they think he's a flight risk, but you leave the state, you're not a
Right.
flight risk.
Go ahead, Disco.
Attorney Fleck,
Yes.
do y'all know what the procedures are? Cause he know what happened to me, 2 years ago, at the job I work at, Cobb County. I had 5 police officers put guns on me
Oh yeah, I'm
Over-
glad this man allowed to tell
over a
us.
Miami Hurricane shirt. So I got to my car and they pulled up on me, guns straight out
Yeah.
over a T-shirt at my job. So do you know what the proper procedure is for them when they supposed to pull their weapons out?
Well, I mean, I can't
He
tell you
worked
the
at
SOP,
CCT,
but
by the way.
I can tell you if they think that all they have to do or say is that they feel like their life is being endangered or threatened.
I was going to my car out of the building.
He worked at the CCT.
And they pulled up, sirens
Crazy.
on, guns drawn out. I had my hands up in the
They
air.
got mad because
Of a I had a Miami Hurricane T-shirt, and the supervisor
Crazy.
wanted me to leave the property,
guns, man.
and I told her I want to leave the property because what I was doing, other workers were doing the same thing. So she called the police, said whatever she said, and I got to my
They
car.
came with drawn
I mean, that time I drew their guns, and I had nothing in my hand but my car keys to get in my car.
Remember, because he works a split shift at CCT, so he was going. They told me he had to take it off. You went to your car, right?
I told them, they told me to leave the property. I told them I wasn't going because I was going to talk to my general manager. But the young lady called the police, whatever it may be. As I got to my car,
weapon
they
or
came.
nothing?
I mean, I had my car keys, getting in my car, and they pulled their guns out right there. I was in the middle of the park like this, my hands up, over a T-shirt.
That's why people
That's crazy.
are fearful
I'm sorry
of the
that happened.
police when they come like that, because they do have the
Right.
right to kill you.
That's
you know,
true,
and all they got to do is say, I was fearful of my life.
yeah, right.
You know, they're not held to the same standards
No.
as a regular citizen.
Right.
You know, so I think that's something that has to change. I think the training has to change, so they can know how to come to a situation and de-escalate the situation
Right.
and not escalate the situation.
Right.
I think we need more black police officers with the understanding, the ones with the understanding, and that come from the same places that regular people come from,
Right. That's true. I agree with that.
to deal with like in the urban community, you know, I can say, like in Atlanta, it's a total
So what's the
difference.
between? Because I know you from Atlanta. So what's the difference between Atlanta and Cobb? You would say, as far as the police.
It's a total difference. A lot of times, the officers know a lot of these people. You know, they know that these people they not up to, cause they talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they engage with them.
Communicate with them, right?
You know, just because you might see this homeless person out there, you know, doing whatever. They know this guy. They done had conversations with him.
Right.
They done engaged with him several times. They know he not out there trying to hurt nobody.
Mhm.
You know, because they interacting with the community. But when I was growing up, we used to have officer friendly. You know what I'm saying? To come to the school and to talk to the kids and build that relationship. So when they see us out there in the projects playing ball or whatever, they will stop and you know, speak or get out. We won't have that no more.
You're right.
Because people are fearful of they done made it to where you don't even want to see the police, you know, anymore. When I'm in my car now, I'm still peeking and looking. I don't even like to drive at night by myself.
So do you still have any kind of dreams and stuff, even though you're a free
I
man
do.
now? Do you still have
Yeah.
this thing? I understand.
All the time.
Wow.
You know, it took me a long time to get. When I first got out, you know, I couldn't sleep at all. You know, for that week, I was just up at night, 2, 3 in the morning. I go outside and just, you know, I'm just up. But then after they rearrested me, you know, because I was getting to the point where I might get a couple of hours of sleep. But when they came and rearrested me,
started it over, huh?
it started it all the way back over.
Wow.
Now I'm at my own house. I'm scared. I'm peeking out the blinds. Every car ride up the street, I'm looking at the car to see.
You're not doing that now, though, are you?
Nah, I don't do that now.
Okay.
But I still have dreams.
I got you.
You know, I still have those thoughts of being shot and killed, you know,
Right.
on that night. But yeah, it took a long time.
Right. Ms. Lewis, you like to say anything
Well, I was
about
just
the
saying,
situation?
even like if a car pull up and stop too long in front of our
You
house,
looking, huh?
we asking each other, who is that? What are they doing? Why are they in front of our house? And they could just be lost, but because
Gotcha.
we're so afraid that if somebody trying to do something again that happened before, we just stay on our P's and Q's.
Right.
Yeah, but we got to bridge that gap, like you said.
we
I
gotta
would love to
bridge that
sit down and have
Oh,
a
we go sit
one-on-one
down.
with
We go
with
sit
that
down.
same officer, because I want to look him in the
I
eyes
think
and
he
say,
got dismissed though.
Mhm.
well, the first one who
Madison,
was
yeah.
yelling,
Okay.
Madison, and the one who was on the
I
call,
applaud you
that-
doing that.
that
'Cause I know
said-
that you don't hear people do that, but I really applaud
yeah,
you.
because he said he still didn't,
You set
he
an
still
example,
agree
man.
with what he said,
Right.
and I don't agree with that. So I want to look him man to man and get an understanding, like you don't see that you did nothing wrong.
'Cause I remember the mayor of the police. I seen the media. They made a comment and said they made the wrong decision. You know how that is. You know, so as your attorney, you probably hear that all the time. But when God is in the mix, you can't stop nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They know what
Exactly.
kind of man this man really is. You know, and like I said, to backtrack what you said, when he was out on bond, he obeyed everything to do. You know,
Right.
So they know they wasn't dealing with no one.
Right.
You know, someone considered minister to society.
Right.
It was someone that was very productive, a business owner in this community. You know, but they tried.
Mm-hmm. And the reality is that even if he was a menace to society, that doesn't give you the right to come in and arrest somebody for no reason because you don't like
that's
their
true.
tone.
That's
And
true.
I think that's the thing that we need to officers need to understand is you sign up for that job. So, you know, that means
Serve
sometimes
and
you're
protect.
showing up to people with mental health issues or
Right.
who you're not always going to be
And
respected.
you heard this situation.
It's not about respect. It's about doing your job. And whether or not you think somebody's respecting you, you need to treat them lawfully.
That's true.
You know,
Disco, we should have really pressed that issue, bro. About that shit when that happened to you, man. Because, you know, you family too, man. That kind of made me angry, you know, and things like that. So, but we got some work to do, you know, in this community, you know, and I'm glad that you came to accept this interview.
yes.
I have a question, Mr. Lewis.
Go ahead.
All due respect, how did your kids not feel about police officers now?
As of right now.
Your children,
You said Miss Lewis?
Mister, well, both y'all
Oh,
really.
oh.
Yeah.
Well,
The Lewises.
I have, like I said before, I got police officers in my family, like 5 or 6 people.
So that was on this side of town, pretty much.
No one on his side. But my kids are very respectful of everybody. It don't matter who you are. That's just the way we raise them. You know what I'm saying? But I know inside they know what happened to their dad. So I know they feel some kind of way.
Right.
You know, I'm not gonna say that they just angry towards all police, but they definitely feel some kind of way because of what happened to me. You know, just as I would if something happened to you.
Right. Right.
Because we close like that. It's an automatic feeling of being a human that you're gonna have when something happens to somebody that you love.
Right.
You know, you're gonna have that type feeling towards that person. But, you know, we just need to get a better understanding and bridge that gap between those two because now it seems like it's getting wider and wider.
Right.
And I don't want my son to grow up, you know, to go through nothing that I went through.
Right.
And I also want to say, my son, if we're in the car, he'll say, "Mom, the police right there."
He gets
It's
a little
like,
nervous or
he
something.
gets nervous because of what happened to his dad. He didn't do that before. He's 15. And
Wow.
he freezes up and he'll say, "Mom, the police right there." And I'm like, "It's okay. We're not doing nothing wrong."
Right.
But he's probably looking at it like, "You weren't doing nothing wrong that night. Daddy got
Gotcha.
beat up either." So
And tell him, Wumi, my little niece, she's
terrified of the police.
how old is she?
She's sick.
She's 6.
She remember, so she heard
So,
about that.
you know, this was
Did she see
2
the
years
video?
ago
Did she
almost.
see
So
the
she
video?
was 4.
She's seen the video.
So
but
she
she
was
don't
4.
being around.
But she wanted to see me so bad when I got out. You know,
Wow.
because she was hurt. You know, they was crying, you know, all that because of what happened to me. But she know what type of person I am.
Mhm.
You know, so she just wanted to know, like, why they do that to you. You know what I'm saying? Because she wanted to get over there to see me so bad that day. And this the same day when she came and saw me. This the same day that they came to the house and rearrested me.
And
Because-
she's terrified of the police to this
Mhm.
day.
Wow. That means she was 4 years old.
That's what I'm saying. And this
Wow.
was 2 years ago.
I ain't surprised kids these
Yeah.
days are
Right.
so smart.
Yeah. So she was, you know, that's something that's gonna be on her for a while.
Wow.
You know.
And it's not that someone probably talked to her, just being around, probably hearing it, you know, being on the phone with her mom is on the phone or something like that. So
Right.
she's terrified to this day of the
Right.
police.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So did you ever get to meet with Miss Holmes? I met with her.
I did. I met with her a few times.
Did you? Okay.
Mhm.
How did that? I guess how did that kind of?
I mean, it was.
She wasn't. She was not elected, right? She was appointed by
She
the
was
governor,
appointed.
Right.
Right. She
So
was
how
appointed.
did that go during your meeting? Because my meeting, I had some questions about it. But how did that go?
It was a progress. We made progress. Our last meeting, I will say, she always heard me out.
Okay.
Which was more than we got the first meeting I had with
Okay.
the acting DA, who was the one who charged him with all of those
I know
crazy
you're right.
counts. I mean, they weren't even hearing anything.
Are you kind of glad that he wasn't over? You think it would have made a difference? He was
Oh,
still there
absolutely.
for real?
I think that if he was still in office, Mr.
would've fought to
Lewis's
the
case
end.
would still be open, and we would be
Wow.
preparing for trial with the recidivist
Even
notice.
with a corrupt cop.
Yep, I think that. Unfortunately, that's just what I think based on, you know, their tone, the way they came out, the way they did.
Okay.
There was no hearing anything. So I will say she heard us out. I think she thought about it. You know, and she made the right decision. At the end of the day, she signed that no pros, that dismissal. So she made the right decision, but it was a process. Am I glad that it took this long? No, I wish it should have happened on day
I
one.
think we might have a phone call. Real Talk with New Order. Can I help?
Yes, hi, everyone. I'm Maria Harris. I'm the political strategist for New Order. How are you guys doing?
What's going on,
Good.
Maria? We have Attorney Flack in the studio. We have Renardo and his wife. What's your question and comment for them? Or do you have one, or what would you like to say to it?
Well, you know I do. I've been listening to what you guys have been saying, and I'm in complete agreement with what you're saying, but I have a comment as well.
Go ahead.
I was a civil service personnel. I was a teacher in the classroom for 23 years. Recently, I went into business for myself, and I left the profession simply because no longer had the heart to give that kind of support to that what do you call it? To the profession anymore. I was kind of burned out, kind of Really was just a lot going on. So my comment is this. As police officers, they go through the same thing. And I think it's very important that a lot of them be very cognizant of what they're doing. And if they experience burnout, they leave the profession whenever there's not a whole lot going on. I'm not talking about novice police officers. The majority of what we're experiencing with police brutality is with the veteran police officers. They've been there a long time. And they have gotten away with a whole lot of stuff. And so they keep getting away with it. So that's why they continue to do it. Being a teacher, you go into the classroom as a novice teacher, beginning teacher, and you don't go into that classroom with preconceived notions of what you think your students were going to be. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter what they look like. You have to give everybody an opportunity to present themselves to be worthy academically and then to have academic achievement. Same thing is with the police officers. They go on calls, and the first they go into a all black neighborhood, the first thing, hey, it's gonna be roughhousing in here. So preconceived notions is one thing that's killing us. But you know what? They've been taught that. I was taught in some of my studies that the children of color were going to be the ones that give me the I guess you call it the kids are going to be trouble in the classroom. And I had to email one of my teachers, my instructors, to let them know I will not read that material any longer. Because for me, I wasn't a novice teacher at the time, but just going through that and learning all of that, what if I had been brand new? And then all of a sudden I got taught that to look out for my non-white students, that they were going to be troublemakers or they were going to be the least likely to achieve. So these are the things that if I'm a teacher learning that, just imagine what the police officers are telling them when they come in as novice police officers, and then what the veteran police officers telling the novice police officers. So that's one big thing of it. But what we have to do is we at a very, very precious time in politics and in our world, and we got to get on the ground running and get some of these laws and take some of these laws out and make sure that we do reform and make sure we amend some things and take some laws completely, cast them out. And we just got to stay on the horn and stay with it and make sure that we do our due diligence as people of color.
Well, one thing about that's my political strategist. She works remotely from the state of South Carolina. She's really from Georgia. Her passion as far as politics, I can hear it in her voice, is that we're all, it's that passion. Mm-hmm. Thank you for your comment, Maria. Thank you for calling in, and keep up the good work.
And I'm listening to everything, and I love it.
Thank you, appreciate that. Mm-hmm. You go ahead.
No problem.
She kind of keep us up to date on the political side, but you can hear her passion, and things like that. So. But it's just the fact that, when you have a lot of people that's on the same accord, had the same vision, you get a lot accomplished. So that's just the passion you hear in her voice and things like that. So go ahead.
What I think is that I'm quite sure everybody would agree that the police need to understand, or there need to be an understanding that everybody under the law, not just the so-called suspect. You can't just think the suspect gonna be held accountable under the law. Everybody held accountable under the law.
That's true.
The judge, the prosecutor.
You agree with that?
Every single person. The law is for everybody.
That's true.
To serve the interests of the whole populace. But the police officer have been given almost like a bypass, like you above the law. You can go above the law, beyond the law, under the law, around the law. You can do whatever you choose to do, because cause I come from Chicago, where crime is organized. The police is an organized gang all through the state of Illinois. They organize, and down here it may be a little different, but up there you dealing with a mob, a real live mob. I'm talking about the Gambinos. These people do things and they reward and punish who they choose. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, like, because the prison system is majority black. You know, they reward and they punish black people for whatever they deem necessary.
Right.
And during the election year, they gonna come through the community and they gonna have a broken window policy, and they gonna come through and they gonna arrest who they choose to. You can be standing on the curb, you can be doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you got a criminal background now because they use even misdemeanors such as tickets, whatever, to build your portfolio or your criminal background.
That's true. You have a comment on that? I know he said about the law, even in the courtroom, everybody's under the law, correct? So you understand what he's saying. You kind of agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, but I do think that like the system was designed, if you look at the history of it, the system was designed to function just the way it is. Once the 13th Amendment in 1865 abolished slavery, except for those convicted of a crime. And then you see within a year, even in our state, in the state of Georgia, you see what's called black codes, where you have thousands and thousands of laws that were not a crime before 1865 that were enacted. A black man who stands outside at night, a black man who crosses the street during the day, that doesn't use, all of these things were designed to put a certain segment of the population back on the same plantation that they literally just came from.
Right.
And that has then taken, we stopped doing black codes, and we had Jim Crow, and then we had the war on drugs. Same thing. So it's just another example of basically, where we were in the 1800s. So it's working the way it's supposed to, which is that black people are punished for being black, doing something that's a white person would not be punished for.
Right. So that has to change. Don't have to get up to something. So what you think about these young people in these streets, as far as the Black Lives Matter movement, and things like this? What you think about the after the George Floyd situation? I think it woke up a lot of people. Should have took before then, because every case to me is high profile, and I know that happened while your thing was at a delay to hide the George Floyd and these high profile cases. I think they sit back and like, wow, police are really wrong now. What's going on? You think they might have had a difference in this particular case, because there was a lot of stuff going on during intermission time, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do think that it made a difference in terms of
because we had talked about that. Remember, you think it did?
I definitely do. I think it gave people that had the power to maybe get rid of this case.
Hold on now.
To see the same undercurrents, which were that a black man does something, we assume the worst,
right?
Which is what happened in Renardo Lewis's case, is what happened in George Floyd's case, it's what happened in Ahmaud Arbery's case, it's what happened in Trayvon Martin's case, and on and on and on.
Right.
So I do think that it helped. I hate that it took this long, because to me nothing has changed. This was what it was on March 31st.
Was that unusual taking that long, this case, or that's not surprising?
Yes and no. I think that without COVID, it would have moved a little bit faster, but I something just told me this whole time we needed time. We needed a little bit of time. We need people to think about it, and lo and behold,
I think
we had that.
Yeah. That's just my opinion. I think it had a lot to do with this case, to be honest, because everybody, like COVID hitting, everybody paid attention to what's going on with Floyd, and these people are like, wait a minute, something. We can't. Something ain't right with this, and things like that. So, but I'm just excited because when I had Martin Luther King III on our program, he really applauded the young people there, but they must have a vision, agenda, and things like that. Me personally. It's economics. We got to support our own community, but we don't do that because we could shut down a lot of stuff as far as business. We just, patronize our own community. But for some reason, we don't do that, and things like that. But
I think for the most part, we patronize each other. I wouldn't say that because I wouldn't be here if my people didn't support me.
Right. I ain't saying every. I'm
just saying like. Sometimes they play these games like we don't support each other, but
it's part of the system again.
Exactly,
like if I turn you inward, you're fighting inward, then you still won't. Right.
Because we here
I
now,
still think we
support each other now. But I know what you're saying. We can do more.
Right.
I wouldn't say we don't support.
Right.
I would say we can always do more.
Right.
You know, but we definitely support each other.
Mhm.
You
And
know,
it could be like that in every race where, you know, they probably don't support each other. You know, it's probably
Right.
not
They
all
race, they
whites, 'cause
support
we
each
have
other.
whites that come into our restaurant.
And
our
I'm a witness to
restaurant
that.
and
Right.
establishment.
Right.
So they probably feel the same way. Like, why you going in there? So I think
Right.
it just depends on, like I said, the demographics of who you around and who supports you.
Well, I could say when George Floyd, the cop was out on bond, and Mr. Zimmerman, they supported them as far as we talked about the bond.
Oh, yeah.
They raised all
Oh,
this
yeah, they
money.
did. But it was
feel
a
me?
those
lot
the ones that you
wasn't-
can't worry about though.
Those the
That's
ones
true.
you get.
You're not gonna change that.
Yeah.
No matter what you say or do,
Right.
that's it's embedded in them
Yeah.
to think like that
Right.
since they were young
Right or
kids.
wrong.
Right.
So you're not gonna change. Those not the ones you want to go after.
Right.
You want to go after the ones who was out there in the march, who was out there on the streets fighting with us.
Right.
You can't do nothing about this other side, this other group.
Right.
They always gonna have that mind
That's
frame.
true.
They gonna think like that.
Right.
So
I
we
just
don't want
think
to
we can
change
do
them.
more as people. And like I said, I should have changed. It ain't all of us. You know. I just think that because I went to a rally that was held by the Black Panther Party, right, packed in the park. It was my time to speak. I said, "Why don't we take this in front of Walmart?" They looked at me like I was crazy. That show we could shut them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And bring and go to your business and support that. That's what I'm saying.
Cause we spend the most
You know
dollars.
what I mean? Right. That's just the mentality I have to be more effective. Because a lot of that stuff, man, it will not happen. Like when I first moved down here, I don't know if you remember this case, but remember Anthony Coleman, city councilman from Marietta? And you had Mayor Dunaway, and this was like early 2000 during a city council meeting. Mayor Dunaway told Anthony Coleman be quiet like a tar baby in Cobb County. That's the mentality was here. And I was like, hold on, something ain't right with that. You know what I'm saying? And I just moved on here and I called a press conference or whatever saying something need to be said about that. You know, eventually he apologized. And then you had the restaurant on Roswell Road. The guy passed away, but he said, I smelled fried chicken from the White House. You know, had racial.
Oh
you know,
yeah,
the restaurant.
the restaurant had
But
all
then
racial
you got
slurs.
the NAACP office right across the street. You ain't saying nothing.
Right.
I'm mad about that. You got kids going to school, so I spoke out about that and got the sign down. My life was threatened, but I didn't. That's why I'm like, dang, this is Cobb County. They just letting that. You know what I'm saying? School buses going through there, like they accept it. I know it wouldn't accept that, and I know Ohio got issues, but they wouldn't accept that where I'm from. Nobody say nothing like they used to it in Cobb. You know, so that angers me. You know, and things like that. But but it's changing. It's definitely
For the
changing.
good.
You know, and I want to give a shout out to Lisa Cupid and the new district attorney. I think it's Mr. Brody.
Glenn
Brody.
Brody.
You know, they're gonna be coming into the studio and things like that. So we gotta, they gotta do their job now. As the DA, some people in jail are innocent, some people are guilty, but because he look like me, don't think everybody innocent.
It's our policy.
And things like that.
But everybody deserves a defense.
Right.
But I'm gonna say this about this young lady, and I applaud you because man, it's rare to find an attorney that
Black
really,
female at that.
that would really go to bat for you. You know, some attorneys be right in there, they just want to broke you out your money and just take you for that ride. You know what I'm saying? And then make a deal in the back room. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who's gonna sell you out. You know?
Yeah, that's one thing I will not
She
be
was
doing.
fighting.
But I
She was fighting. Well, I
think
seen
about it differently. This is not it's a job, don't get me wrong, but it's more than that. I mean, it's my life. On Thanksgiving, I went to Fulton County Jail and visited my 2 clients who don't have a bond. That's just what I do, because if it were me, and I think about it all the time, if it were me, if it was my family, what would I want? And so even on those days where it's like you can't get it out of your mind, it's like this is just people's lives. In a system that is throwing people away and that is torturing people.
Is that why you got into law school? Because you were seeing a lot of injustice going on?
Yeah, I was just tired of talking about it. And I wanted to understand. I've always been like that since I was young. Like I was why? And it got me in trouble with my dad. Stop asking why.
So
but
you're not from Georgia though, right?
I was born in South Carolina, but
Okay.
I was raised here, went to school here, went to law school here.
Okay.
But I wanted to understand why we were doing this. And now I know it really isn't a why. It's systemic racism. And so I just, if it's the last thing I do, we have to change it.
Right.
Hey, have you ever read Michelle Alexander?
Yes, I have. I've read it. I actually have it on my phone. I have the Audible audio version. So sometimes I'll just listen to it, just to refresh myself on different ways to, get the prosecutor to see things the way that, I see them, which
And
is
they think
injustice.
ain't nothing wrong, huh?
Mm-hmm.
They think nothing wrong with the system.
They don't. A lot of them don't. I will say it's refreshing to see a lot of great prosecutors recently. And maybe that's because of what's gone on publicly. But I've had some serious conversations lately in other cases too with prosecutors that they get it. But the problem is, they got to answer to officers like some of the officers in Marietta PD and their elected officials and all of these things. But I applaud the conversation. If you would just hear me out and give me a chance, like that's more than we've had in forever.
I was very shocked when I met with Miss Holmes. I don't think you told me that she gave me all the DA email addresses. So we sent them an email on behalf of Mr. Lewis. I was very shocked that a DA over the case would give me that information. What you think about that?
I think that's great. I
ain't disagree with, but I don't know if I had told you. She gave me all of the DAs who I can write to, on behalf. Yeah, and I was very shocked as a DA did that, things like that. So I'm gonna sit down with Mr. Brody, have a conversation. Again, I know he got to do his job, but it's good to at least have a conversation.
Yeah, they be wanna know what's in
going
our
on.
community we willing to fight for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If we sit back and we just allow them just to have our kids, then they gonna send them to the penitentiary.
You're right. Go ahead, Ms.
And I
Lewis.
just want to say, on behalf of Miss Sarah Flack, in the beginning, it was so many attorneys coming at me about my husband's case. Want to do it for free. They just come. I met with so many
How did you meet
attorneys.
Miss Flack?
She was a referral, but it was just something about her. When I talked to her and I was meeting with other attorneys, she was just still ringing in my head. She just seemed like she was in it to win it. She was fighting for my husband. It was just a different tone with her. Right. And even meeting with other people, I'm like, I gotta call Sarah back.
So you met with a lot of other attorneys?
I met with about 4 other attorneys, but it was just something about her.
Wow.
And
it worked out.
It worked out. It was God leading me to her, and it was just something. I felt like she was in it.
I know who to call in Cobb now.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Oh yeah, and it was funny because when I was talking to her, she was telling me, I don't know what to do. All these people coming at me I said, baby, just go with your heart. Whatever you feel in your spirit.
I had tried. We can laugh about it now, but I tried to give a case we had in Oklahoma. Remember?
Yes.
But,
and she don't just take any case.
I don't, because it literally is my life. So it's like if I take a case, I have to make sure I have the time, the resources, all of the things
she was
that
honest
go
with me
into it.
We had a high-profile case in Oklahoma. You remember that situation? She's still fighting that case, but she was hard to work with. But she do have a case where she was continuously being raped while she was in working at a what you call it when you out of prison and you go to this place and work. And the guy kept constantly, I give you a favor, whatever. And she had reached out for me or whatever, but it was hard to get an attorney to tackle on the case or whatever. Yeah. And things like that because it was in Oklahoma. Yeah. Things like that. And she flew me out there and everything and had a chance to meet with some people and stuff, but I respect her. She said, "Hey, I can't do it." Instead of leading me on,
right.
Things like. But it worked out for you. Like I said, being in Cobb, I done seen a lot of attorneys in there plea bargain, take the plea.
His cousin actually referred me to her, but I'm so happy because she was really everything that we wanted.
One thing I can tell you, one thing I can say about him, Gerald, I gotta talk to my attorney. I know he's I know he kept saying, Gerald coming at me again. I gotta talk to my attorney. He would say that in a minute, so he protected.
I love them so much, and we had the conversation at the beginning because I tell my clients now, like, you have to go with a lawyer who you feel is gonna fight for you. I'm not gonna feel any kind of way. You have to go with someone that you believe, whether that means I'm not getting the job or not. Like, I care about you more than that, and so I said that to them. You have to go with.
That she works for you all. But that's one thing he kept saying, Gerald, because. He wouldn't be wearing that if it was he was still going through the process.
Nah, definitely.
even though I said I ain't gonna wear it. I'm just messing with him.
We gotta talk to Sarah.
Yeah. But you gotta play the game. You're right. You gotta play the game.
Make sure it's great.
We have about 10 minutes left into the show. Any final words you'd like to say?
No, I'm just happy, man, that we got a good resolution out of this situation, man, because a lot of times, you know, it'd be heartbroken, man. Our peoples, man, suffer a whole lot of defeats, man, at the hand of this system.
That's
You know, and you know, I feel like everybody feel. I don't think all police bad. I don't think all white folks bad.
Right.
But somehow we got to be able to affect the change in the hearts and the minds of the peoples. And that's the reason why when I call people's politicians, or I talk about the politicians, they got that power. They got the power to change hearts and minds, or at least to garnish votes. You know what I'm saying? And also, but they lawmakers.
That's true.
So they're in a position to make the laws that would affect the hearts and the minds of the people. So they need to do their job, you know, according to, you know, what they really want from a humanitarian perspective. Not just being racist or nothing like that, but strictly being a humanitarian. And not only that, we are citizens of this country. They need to start treating us like such.
Right.
Let me ask, I don't know if you can answer this question. What if Trump, on the day he supposed to leave, he don't leave office? By law, is he considered I don't know if you know, is he considered trespassing? Yep.
I mean,
do you know anything about that? Because I got a feeling this guy is gonna, you know, I'm not leaving. Is he?
I think that I've thought about that, but it's like, okay, so if he doesn't move, like even if, let's say he doesn't move from the White House, like that doesn't mean that he's still president. It'll just go on without him. You know what I mean? Like, even if he doesn't show up to the inauguration, I mean, Joe Biden's
not
gonna
that.
be
I'm talking about like he's staying at what? Because I heard it's considered trespassing.
I mean, I think at that point it would be.
Secret Service.
I don't know if we've made it that far in like the Constitution. You know what I mean? Like, what happens if a president doesn't follow the law?
Right.
Or,
but like I said, everybody's under the law.
It's crazy.
Even the president's under the law.
Allegedly, yeah.
Right. Just one I didn't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird times.
Right. Any other final things you like to?
I mean, no, I think that these conversations are good. I'm looking forward to sitting down with the police. I think that is necessary.
I'll forward you the email when I get to my office. I'll forward it over to you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you again.
Anybody else want to say something?
I just want to say thank you to you, Gerald. First of all, thank you. New World Order, thank you.
New Order, don't say New World Order.
Yeah.
I had it actually, man. When I first moved out here, it was actually called the Council of New Order.
Okay.
And I changed the New Order then because people were saying New World Order, and I did some research. I think that's
not
a
I
white
believe
supremacist group or something.
So
yeah. Well, I believe. He my witness. We got a nice staff, man. I have members in Michigan. I got a call from a brother in Columbus, Ohio that I don't even know. He did some research, but I have a staff member in Columbus. So it's something I must be doing right. And this is volunteer. You know, my research team is in Louisiana. They're not even here. You met some local, you know, and like I said, she called from South Carolina. You know, and we have a nice team, man. He from Chicago. When he first moved out here, I lended my hand out because he had a situation with his brother, and I went to Chicago and led a march. You know, so we're family now. You know, you consider
that's family. How you connect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say, and you jumped right on it when it happened. You was there that next morning. I didn't know you.
Right.
You was at the restaurant, and ever since then, you've been giving us support, and we appreciate
got to,
that.
Like I said, we'll do a follow up. You know, we got all the business going on, but you know, we need to support our own. Yeah. Any final thing you like? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, he most definitely was passionate about it. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Be honest.
I eat dream this, y'all. Y'all just don't know.
You see what happened to Lewis, man? I mean, I started.
Was you in the organization then?
Yeah, I was 21 months. I've been down here almost.
Yeah. I be talking to my staff. Yeah, we be having conference calls.
Matter of fact, as soon as I got, I think like a few months after I got it.
Right. Yeah, I take this from the heart. You know, come from my dad.
You can tell.
Come from my dad. Yeah. But that's about. We're gonna go ahead and end this. Again, you've been listening to Real Talk with New Order live on DISCO100 Radio. And in turn, if you don't mind, just subscribe to us this YouTube channel. It's
subscribe.
DISCO100.
Perfect. I will.
Yeah,
I got you.
And we invite you back.
Thank you. I'll come back anytime.
Yeah, and I'm gonna invite you back, but not on this. What I want to do, I want to find all the black business owners in Cobb. So it's a whole. This is not even gonna be mentioned. We're gonna talk about that and see how we can support our own. We're gonna do that. And then now, do you own?
Yes.
Why, now, where's your business at?
I'm in Austell.
Matter of fact, give out your information right quick.
Put it in the way in hair salon. Been there 16 years. off Oxdale Road, 4760 Oxdale Road.
Okay. Give out a phone number.
678-945-5254.
All right, Renato, you want to give out your information?
It's RC Southern Cooking. We're located in Marietta, address 1516, Marietta, Georgia 30062. You can like us on Facebook, RC Southern Cooking. Like us on Instagram, RC Southern Cooking. Phone number 449468375. And we do Uber Eats and Grubhub delivery services also.
Turn, you want to give out your information? Oh, you got enough clients.
No.
I'm just joking with you.
SarahFlackLaw.com. You can find me out. Criminal defense, or I'm doing also injury cases in jails or prisons right now too. It's
Okay.
1983. If you know somebody that's obviously been injured or killed, unfortunately, in a prison or jail.
So you just practice law just in Georgia?
Yeah,
right?
I am sworn in federally too. I actually had to try a big federal case in Ohio and Akron a couple of years ago, but mainly Georgia.
Okay.
Yep.
That's about it. It's been Real Talk with Noodle. For more information about New Order, you can call us at 1-800-346-5138 or visit our website at www.nonhro.org. We take donations. You can cash app it at $ New Order donations, or you can visit our website and give a donation to our PayPal account. It takes money to do this. God bless you all, and peace.